The untold story of Lauren Bennett, party rock anthem singer, dead at 37. She sang on one of the most played songs of the 2010s. She was 37 years old. She left behind a 6-year-old daughter. Her name was Lauren Bennett. And if you were anywhere near a radio, a party, a shopping mall, or a television between 2011 and 2013, her voice was in your life. She was the British girl on Party Rock Anthem, the song that spent 6 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song that became the soundtrack of an entire era. She was also a member of G.R.L, the group that lost a bandmate to suicide at the height of their fame, and somehow kept going. And on July 6, 2026, her former G.R.L bandmates announced that Lauren Bennett was gone. She was 37 years old. No cause of death has been made public. Today on Billionaire Bars, we are telling you everything about the woman behind the voice. Her story is far bigger, far more complicated, and far more heartbreaking than one hit song. And it deserves to be told properly. She was born on July 7, 1989, in Meopham, a small village in Kent, in the southeast of England. Not London, not a major city, a quiet corner of England where most people live their entire lives without ever appearing on a Billboard chart. Her Paradiso Girls groupmate Aria Crescendo noted that the pair met 20 years ago when Bennett was just 16 years old, and they grew up together. 16 years old when she started building the relationships that would shape her career. That means Lauren Bennett was chasing this dream from the very beginning of her teenage years. And in 2006, at just 17 years old, she took the first big swing. Bennett started her music career when she appeared on the UK version of The X Factor's third series in 2006. The X Factor, the same show that launched Leona Lewis, One Direction, and some of the biggest names in British pop. Lauren Bennett auditioned. She made it through the early rounds. She was eliminated just before the live shows, for the cameras, before the public votes, before the moment that changes everything. Eliminated. Most people would have gone home. Lauren Bennett went to Los Angeles. She was 18 years old, a girl from a Kent village, moving to Hollywood alone, to chase something she had been told, at the first real hurdle, she was not quite good enough for. And what happened next in Los Angeles tells you everything about who she was. Because within a year of arriving, she had joined a girl group founded by one of the most powerful women in pop music. And the journey that followed would take her to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. In Los Angeles, Lauren Bennett caught the attention of Rock Anthem. If you know the music industry, you know that name. Rock Anthem is the woman who founded the Pussycat Dolls, one of the most successful girl groups in the history of pop music. The British singer began her career as part of the girl group Paradiso Girls, formed by Pussycat Dolls founder Rock Anthem, formed by the woman who built the Pussycat Dolls. That is not a small thing for a teenager from Kent who had been cut from the X Factor 1 year earlier. Their debut single, Patron Tequila, featuring Eve and Lil Jon, hit #3 on the Billboard Dance Club Songs chart in 2009. Top 3 on the Billboard Dance Club chart. At 20 years old, she was also working alongside some of the biggest names in music during this period. Bennett collaborated with CeeLo Green on his song Love Gun from his 2010 album The Lady Killer. CeeLo Green, will.i.am, Eve, Lil Jon. The girl from Meopham was in the room with all of them. And then, in 2011, everything changed. Bennett found more success when she was a featured guest, alongside Goonrock, on LMFAO's hit song Party Rock Anthem, which released in 2011, Party Rock Anthem. If you are over 40, you know exactly what that song meant to the early 2010s. It was everywhere. Gyms, grocery stores, weddings, every party from Birmingham to Brooklyn. The track topped Billboard's Hot 100 chart, spending 6 weeks at the #1 spot. 6 weeks at #1. In the United States. Lauren Bennett, from a village in Kent, was on the #1 song in America, at 21 years old. But here is the thing about #1 songs that nobody warns you about. They create expectations so enormous that everything that comes next has to fight against their shadow. And for Lauren Bennett, what came next was one of the most emotionally complicated chapters in her career. In 2012, Rock Anthem formed another group. This one would be called G.R.L, Girls Rock Life. In 2012, she joined another group formed by Anthem called G.R.L, that initially included Bennett, Emmeline Estrada, Natasha Slayton, Paula Van Oppen, and Simone Battle. 5 women, all talented, all working towards something real. Their debut single, Vacation, was featured on the Smurfs 2 soundtrack, a moment of mainstream visibility that pointed toward genuine commercial success. Their song, Wild Wild Love, with Pitbull, also landed on Billboard's Hot 100 chart in 2014. And then, in September 2014, the group's world stopped. In September of that year, Simone Battle died by suicide, leading to the group's disbandment in 2015. Simone Battle, 25 years old. A member of the group Lauren Bennett had poured herself into. Gone. There are no words for what it means to lose a colleague, a collaborator, a friend, to suicide, especially at the height of the work you have all built together. The group disbanded. The album shelved. The momentum stopped. And yet, Lauren Bennett kept going. G.R.L later reformed as a trio in 2016 with Bennett, Slayton, and new member Jazzy Mejia, and has sporadically performed over the years. Some of the group's songs included Vacation, Ugly Heart, and Lighthouse, the latter of which was a tribute to Battle. They wrote a song called Lighthouse for Simone, because that is what you do when grief becomes too big for silence. You turn it into music. And Lauren Bennett, who had been through the X Factor rejection, the move to LA alone at 18, the rise and the sudden stop, kept turning up, kept making music, kept going. And in her personal life, away from every stage and every studio and every headline, she had built the thing that mattered most of all. Away from the charts, away from the Billboard numbers and the Pitbull collaborations and the Billboard Dance Club records. Lauren Bennett had a daughter. Bennett is survived by her 6-year-old daughter Harlow, whom she shares with dancer Kenny Wormald. Harlow, 6 years old, born in 2020, during the strangest and hardest year most of us have ever lived through. Her father is Kenny Wormald, the American dancer and actor perhaps best known for his lead role in the 2011 remake of Footloose. And her mother was Lauren Bennett, the girl from Kent who auditioned for the X Factor at 17, who moved to Los Angeles alone at 18, who sang on a #1 song at 21, who lost a bandmate to suicide at 25, who kept making music all the way through, and who, at 37 years old, was apparently still only at the beginning of everything she had left to do. Lauren's Paradiso Girls groupmate, Aria Crescendo, posted a message honoring what would have been Bennett's 37th birthday, writing that she wished she were here so we can celebrate. She noted that the pair met 20 years ago when Bennett was just 16, and they grew up together. "I wish you were here so we can celebrate," posted on what would have been her 37th birthday, July 7th, 2026, one day after her death was announced. And the people who knew her best, the women who stood beside her on stages across the world, found words that say everything about who Lauren Bennett actually was. When G.R.L announced Lauren Bennett's passing on July 6, 2026, they did not release a press statement through a publicist. They went on Instagram and they spoke directly to the people who loved her. Their statement read, "It is with great sadness that we share the passing of our beloved Lauren. Our hearts are broken, and we cannot begin to express how much she meant to us. We will forever cherish the love, laughter, and countless memories she gave us. Her beautiful spirit touched so many lives, and she will be deeply missed and forever loved. Rest peacefully, sweet Lauren. You will always be in our hearts. Her beautiful spirit, the love, the laughter, the countless memories, not the Billboard chart positions, not the #1 record, not the famous collaborators or the industry credentials. The laughter, because that, in the end, is always what people reach for. Not the work, the person. Her cause of death has not been made public. Her family and those closest to her have asked for privacy during this time, and we respect that completely. What we can say is this: a 37-year-old woman, a British girl from a small village in Kent, who moved to Hollywood alone as a teenager because she believed in something, who sang on one of the most played songs in the world, who watched a bandmate die and kept going anyway, who wrote songs about mental health and hurricanes and lighthouses, who had a daughter named Harlow, who would have turned 37 on July 7th, and who never got the chance. Party Rock Anthem has been streamed over 1 billion times. Every single one of those streams has Lauren Bennett's voice in it. And now, the woman behind that voice is gone. 37 years old. A 6-year-old daughter who will grow up hearing her mother's voice on the radio. In shopping centers, at parties, in films. A voice that will never go quiet, even though the person it belonged to is no longer here. That is not a footnote. That is a legacy. Rest in peace, Lauren Bennett. From Miafum to #1, and every step in between. Thank you for the music. If this story moved you, share it with someone who remembers that song. And subscribe to Billionaire Bars for more untold stories about the people behind the music. The next video is right here.